You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanya Diamond.
You're doing that to make me laugh.
No, really.
Squeezing this little...
Try it.
I don't want to touch it. Ooh, why are you giving me your balls?
No, that's not my... No, you can't say that on the air. It's a stress ball.
It's a stress... Oh, that's what you're calling
Actually,
it? A stress ball? Nice.
Okay, that's one way to start.
Okay. They just want me to laugh, I think, or something like that. Anyway.
That's my job.
Yeah. It was kind of weird feeling small and fuzzy.
Well, yeah. It's actually, I think, a cat toy or something.
Oh, excellent. Okay. That's what they're calling it these days.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Hi, everybody. We're here. And for some reason, that's really funny.
Yes, we have arrived at this moment in time.
I have to tell you that, most people think, because I'm funny most of the time, or at least I think I'm funny, that I'm like some major partier or something. I don't drink at all. I don't do any drugs at all. This is just my own natural state.
That doesn't mean that you're not a major partier.
Oh, well, that's true.
I mean, you are a party
of the party.
You can be a party of one or the center of.
That's true. But I do want to tell you that all of this hilarity comes to you sober.
I once said that to one of my teachers in junior high. I was bouncing off the walls, and I said, and this is without drugs.
Yeah, there you go. So, when I, last time I talked to our team, I kind of laid down some law about being in the Inner Circle program. What was it that I said?
Which part? The part about addictions?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody could be part of the Inner Circle without addressing their addictions.
Uh-oh.
Whatever their addiction was, they had to begin practicing, I guess you would say, abstinence.
Practicing the reality of their addiction and then the disbursement and quitting of their addiction. And what did we have there? We had some people deciding to become alcohol-free. And, even not even saying it was an addiction, just I said, what did I say? Like, no drugs, no alcohol.
Who was drinking alcohol?
No drugs, no alcohol. No porn, no caffeine,
no gaming.
Limit the sugar, no gaming. And, it sounds like really intense, doesn't it?
And for those of us who were having no sex, to continue having no sex.
Right, those people that were having sexual issues of the addiction type.
Of the addiction.
No sex. So... I was really surprised. Nobody freaked out. I mean, visibly.
Actually, most everyone had already considered it in anticipation, not realizing, so on some psychic level.
Yeah.
They had already considered that they might want to reduce their participation in what might be an addiction. And then when they got there, they said, oh, yeah, it's an addiction.
Well, and so that's an interesting topic. And I actually was asked to speak on the radio last night, somebody else's show, about sexual addiction. And I was asked to talk the pro part of it, not pro sexual addiction, but the actual is there such thing?
Oh,
because now see before when the word sex addict really started showing up, that is after a lot of the big celebrities all of a sudden started getting caught.
I'm addicted rather than I'm a doofus.
Right. I heard something. Oh my God, this woman said that like who's the dude? Who's the famous Will dude? Do you know who I'm talking about? We have a new producer.
Will Rogers?
No, Will Rogers sounds like some Western guy.
Not John Wayne.
No. He's new guy. He's been like, I think he was in Independence Day, big star. Will Smith. Thank you.
Yeah. Well done.
Will Smith. Now, don't quote me on this, and God knows if Will Smith's publicist is out there, but I thought they said he slept with 20,000 women. Or over 20,000 women. That is like insane.
Or someone did.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I didn't sit down to calculate that, figure out how old he is, about how long he could have been having sex, and how long each encounter would have been to go through 20,000 20,000 women. Anyway.
20,000. Is that more than one a day?
That's a lot. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, but that's crazy. So I don't know if that's true. Anyway, they were giving me some statistics on the show. You can I've got the show somewhere. I'll put it out, but some statistics about a lot of famous men and how many women they had slept with or whatever. And so we were talking, is there such a thing as sexual addiction?
Wow.
And I was up against a psychologist who was supposed to be saying there's no such thing as sexual addiction, and this is just a way for cheating men to say, oh, look, it's me and I've got a sexual addiction.
I can't help it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So it was a really interesting conversation. First of all, I really dug the other woman. She was a Sicilian Scorpio, and so we were like sisterhood. Yeah, we were great. And it was great because I would say something, and she'd go, well, I'd have to agree with you. Now, we're supposed to be like kind of opposing on this subject.
Right.
But so in the end, here's what I say. So, of course, Tiger Woods came up. Right? Because, he's the newest, latest, greatest.
You mean my name didn't come up in the conversation?
Your name, I did. I brought your name up at the end, so don't feel left out. I said, too bad Josh wasn't here because he would be talking to us about this. But so there's, Tiger Woods. Is he a sex addict or is he just a doofus? 78% of men cheat on their wives. Are they sex addicts?
Or are they just
doofuses?
Doofuses.
Are they just cheaters? So what's up with that? First of all, I do believe that there is such a thing as sexual addiction. Like all addictions, right? But I don't believe that you are unempowered when you have an addiction. I don't believe that because you have an addiction, you somehow can't help it. I do believe that you're driven and you have more compulsion towards things. But like everything in the world, it's that first time you say no and walk away or do something different that breaks the cycle.
Yeah.
No magic bullet.
I think it's lack of a coping skill, and that's such a generic, misunderstood term, but a coping skill in terms of when I experience stress, I look to relieve the stress.
Right.
And that could be positive stress or negative stress. I mean, think of a rock star. They have thousands of people screaming at them with ecstasy from the other end of the stage. That's a lot of positive stress.
Right.
That creates incredible pressure in an individual, and they don't know how to cope. They don't know how to handle or move that energy or that stress. They look to relieve it with drugs or sex or some sort of extreme behavior.
Right. Some form of medication, and that's what I was saying. It's like, so, if you don't learn how to have your feelings when you're a kid, if you don't learn how to be uncomfortable and be okay, a lot of moms and dads, when their kids are uncomfortable, they try to make everything better. Oh, here, honey, eat a donut.
Right.
Here, sweetie, watch TV. Oh, you're okay. Let's go shopping. I mean, there's so many things. And interestingly enough, young children that are super stressed will use masturbation as a tool to unstress. So, I get calls from parents saying, is it normal that my child is masturbating? Well, yeah.
It's a way of dispersing stress.
But they can do that in the womb. Normal, as in a non-stressed way, isn't going to show up as binge masturbating. It's like your child's in the bed at night, masturbating for an hour, probably relieving stress. There's probably the medication, form. They're stressed. They're using that as a stress release.
An hour.
Right. I mean, that's not typical.
Right.
So, it can start at an early age, this inability, like being scared to go to bed or these different types of stresses and different ways of finding. Some kids bang their head on the wall or bang their head on the crib. And I was reading, that was so amazing. Oh, yeah. So, it can be normal for your child to bang their head on the wall. I'm like, why is that normal? Because a lot of kids are doing it. That's normal. That's like not okay.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, right.
It'll make you feel good.
Yeah. So that's another way of stress relieving because pain creates endorphins. And endorphins will make you high. So we have a lot of,
I used to ride on the bus home from summer camp with my head just leaning against the window of the bus and
so
just let it,
bung, bung,
I
bung,
feel the
bung,
vibration.
bung, bung.
And, it was kind of nice.
Right. Maybe the same thing, maybe not. Hard to say.
I think I'm an addict
to
bus riding.
We decided you were an addict to thinking about your introspection.
Yes, I'm a thinking addict.
Yeah, you're addicted to introspection.
I'm going to think about that. No, I realize I'm addicted to everything. Except for...
Oh, was it Will Chamberlain, not Will Smith? My God, sorry, Will Smith.
Right.
Will Smith, you're a good man. I didn't see that. I kept thinking, Will Smith, he looks so not like that.
He's pretty young.
Yeah.
And he's pretty solid.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Will. It's Will Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain.
All right.
Yep.
Anyway, I'll roast for that one. Okay.
Hey, if Will Smith wants to call in and talk to you about
Will Smith,
it,
if you want
on.
to call in and to redeem yourself, just call away, and I'll apologize personally to you.
Yeah.
So I think they did say Will Smith last night. I'm going to have to go back and check that out.
Will Chamberlain. Yep.
Yeah, that makes more sense. So, okay, addiction. So sexual addiction is out there. However, it's not, 78% of men that are cheating on their wives are not sexually addicted. Tiger Woods, I don't think he's a sex addict. I think Tiger Woods doesn't know how to cope with women throwing themselves at him. Mm-hmm. I think he just has a weak character.
Mm-hmm. Kind of the prince syndrome.
Well,
being a prince, you get everything handed to you.
Maybe
you don't have to deal with stress. Everybody wants to make you happy rather than experiencing discomfort, breathing and dealing with it. Well,
he's under a lot of stress, and he does have a lot of discomfort in his life that he probably deals with well. But then others not. And, I saw some of the texts that he was texting with these women. It was very juvenile. So, it was just kind of like a kid in a candy store kind of thing. So sexual addiction usually has other components to it. So sex addicts generally have more than one addiction. Generally, they medicate in a lot of different ways. And porn, excessive masturbation, excessive meaning that you masturbated enough to miss work, make yourself raw, at the exclusion of
does a day off count as
spending your entire day and your entire day masturbating. I call it binge masturbating. It's just over and over and over again, because you're looking for a satisfaction that isn't going to be found there.
If you're trying to relieve a stress that's present if I was trying to relieve a stress that was present in my life, it didn't matter how much I distracted it.
Right.
It was still there, beginning and ending.
Right. So I think that's how, so sex addict. Yep. Probably somebody that has a bunch of different, addictions interplaying. And the scary part is generally sex addicts will, engage in risky behavior. A lot of them will, you're not, your sex addiction is more like connection addiction. Mm-hmm. That was just, so true sex addicts, might be out, just leave the house, or on their way home, they have to stop and pick up a prostitute.
Right.
Unprotected sex.
Right.
Just doing whatever. And sometimes it's the high of the risk that makes it better. Right. So, and, so I don't think sex addiction is responsible for 78% of men cheating on their women.
Okay.
I think that ignorance and our society not teaching people how to relationship manage.
Well, yeah.
How to know what each other really needs.
We're not taught how to be men. We're not taught how to relate. We're all just thrown into life.
Yep.
And interacting with girls at a young age, and then young women and women, it's all trial and error and survival of the fittest. The jocks and the jerks get success with women by being jocks and jerks, and so wherever you fall on the scale of that perspective, how do you really learn how to relate? And then if you do find yourself in a place of abundance, as we'll say, as Tiger Woods had experienced, how do you learn how to deal when you've never really learned how to deal with anything?
Right. Well, and you can kind of relate to Tiger in that way, because if you were at a point where if women were interested, you were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted because I was wanted, rather than saying, what do I really want? And I felt scarcity, and therefore I felt I had to take advantage of the opportunity that was in front of me, rather than I couldn't control it. My hormones, what got turned on in me because someone was interested in me, I had to go for it.
Right. And that had nothing to do with, and we're not talking about the players that are out scoring on their bedposts.
Right.
You weren't actively wandering around going, hey. So then we come up. So, sex is normal. Sex is natural. And we actually want men to have high sex drives. So then we were talking last night on the show about, well, do actors and Hollywood types have higher sex drives? And people that are living passion, people that are out there in action, do have higher sex drives. Both men and women. But the top, if we were going to say the top person with the highest sex drive that's more likely to cheat than anybody else is a woman who has achieved power.
Mm-hmm.
When a woman, a high executive power, a woman makes six figures, a woman is powerful in her right, she will get and go after anything she wants, way beyond what a man will do. And so that was a very interesting statistic. So women in high power. Do
you have a company in particular you could refer me to? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, see, there it goes.
You saw my eyes rolling up in the back of my head going,
He can't help himself.
That's my addiction to thought.
He was thinking too much right there.
All right, I'm going to bring it back in.
That's right. So there is, there are you out there, you men out there that have heard me, and women out there that have heard me talk about porn addiction. Porn addiction is the biggest sex addiction on the planet. If you can't give up porn for 6 months, you've got a problem.
You might be an addicted.
You are definitely addicted to the rush and the high, that comes from ejaculation, or because that does it's a chemical that's the same as shooting heroin, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the disconnect, because you're not creating your own arousal anymore, you're using a visual and something completely not even real. As your arousal, this is something to try, gentlemen.
That's right. They spray them down with water sprayers to make them look sweaty.
Right.
Not even real sweat.
I know. Nothing you're looking at is real. The women are not engorged. The women are not even turned on. And the men, they've got doubles. They're over there. What do they have? The fluffers?
The close-up shots for the longevity.
Right. And then the fluffers, those are people that are helping the man actually become aroused over in the corner before he goes into his shot.
Really?
Because, they're called fluffers.
They're called fluffers?
Yeah, because
nice.
This isn't doing it for him. So really you're looking at something that's not very real, and what you're doing is you've disconnected from yourself. So here's a practice. Just, don't believe me, just check this out yourself. To say, okay, maybe 6 months is too scary to think about giving up porn, which that should tell you you got a problem right there. But let's say you're just going to say, 30 days.
Mm-hmm. 30
days, no porn.
25 hours.
Yeah, 25 hours, 1 hour. Whatever it is that seems fine, to find a number that, pushes your limits a little bit. And then what I want you to do is I want you to find out if you can become aroused without fantasy, without porn, just on your own.
And waking up in the morning with one doesn't count.
No, that's that's fine. I mean, you can do something with that, but I mean, can you find arousal? Can you be aroused in your own body? Does your body become aroused on its own, or do you find yourself having to?
Now, does that actually require an erection, or just to feel excited?
Yeah, the thing is, you don't need an erection to be aroused, but that's not what. But what happens if you can't?
Right.
So when I put a group of men to the 21-day no porn challenge, most of them didn't make it a week. First of all, I got the phone calls. Oh my God, I can't even make it a week. And why was because when they realized, okay, so I'm not using porn and I'm not using fantasy, and usually I would be doing this right now. So here's my time that I usually do this. It's usually night, medicate yourself, crash out. Most of them were calling me and saying, I actually can't get excited. You know how scary that is? It's really, really frightening that that a person doesn't have the capability to become excited in their own body without external stimulus.
Well, the clarification that you just made of it doesn't necessarily mean I have to have an erection and be masturbating, but it could be just, can I be excited in my body, breathing and excited in my body?
I challenge it anyway. I don't care. Erection, non-erection, masturbating, whatever you do.
I think one of the things that I maybe misunderstood in that was that I need to be able to have an erection and be pleasuring myself without any of those things. And that's a good idea.
You need to try that,
and that's
too.
a good idea.
Yeah.
But for these guys being brand new at it, to just feel good, to just breathe and feel good, for me, when I go to bed at night and I'm stressing about all the things that I didn't get done, that I'd like to get done, bills, debt, whatever, and what do I want to do? I want to relieve stress and go to bed. What would happen if I breathe and lay down rather than get on the computer?
Right.
Actually rest myself.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird and strange, and it's a new world out there for a lot of people. First of all, the light from the computer, resets your clock. So if you're on the computer an hour before you're going to bed, you're messing yourself up anyway. I know this as because that was my 3 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock, I'm still on the computer last night, working on the editing the book one more time.
Right.
All right. So sex addiction, yes, I do believe sex addiction is real. I do believe that it's not as rampant as far as the going out and having sex with other people compared to how many Hollywood or other men are actually doing it. I think that they just lack impeccability.
Okay.
And integrity. So it's, men are, I say this, men are not made to be monogamous. Evolutionarily, you're not designed for that. However,
is that like a hall pass? You just
no. See how no? It's like, wait, she said I'm not monogamous. Oh, people all over the country are going to be blaming me when they tell their wives. She said it. She said it. She said I could do that. No, when you take a commitment and when you make a commitment to somebody, I actually expect you to honor that. Okay, so what you need to contemplate is if you understand that you're going to be married to somebody. I said this to Max, because we set a date, and I'm like, are you really ready to only have sex with me for the rest of your life? And he kind of he goes, way to sell it. It's kind of like, I mean, granted, we probably only have 40 years or 50 years left of that.
Right. So,
but
is that an exit clause?
Yeah.
What is that?
40 or 50 years left. Well, if
I can tolerate that.
If you're in, right, exactly. If you're in your 20s or your 30s and you're looking at 60 years, it's definitely something to contemplate.
Can we just say another 20 years with an option to renew?
There you go. That's
maybe a 5-day hiatus.
And people can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So maybe
any
people
contract can be made if both parties agree to it.
Maybe marriage vows should be we're going to be married for the next 5 years. See how it goes, and we can renew. People would take less for granted that way.
Yeah, but who's going to put the 5-day hiatus clause to go test your mojo?
You have to negotiate
you have to
all
both
that.
Negotiate that.
But anyway, I'm contemplating this in my prenup.
Excellent.
Now I'm waiting for Max to be hopping on here any second. Excuse me.
Any help that I can offer, please don't ask.
Yeah, exactly. So sex addiction, yep, I've talked about it. We think about it. I don't think Tiger Woods has it. I don't think most of the men that have been checking into sex addict.
And I'm sure in the treatment programs that these people go to, I would hope they talk about what other stressors, what other addictions, what other lack of coping skills.
Because addiction is pretty much all the same. And I'm going to rile a lot of people up out there, I'm sure, that have been working really hard on their addictions and say, well, basically, addiction is simply a way of medicating yourself to not feel what you're feeling. And if we taught kids how to feel, not told them what to feel, taught them what to do with their feelings, allowed them to have some discomfort, allowed them to negotiate and work out their discomfort without having to medicate with TV, food, or anything else, we'd be really helping people out a lot. So if you do have a sex addiction, like you're engaged in lots of risky behavior, you're going out at night, you're having unprotected sex, you're doing crazy, scary, stupid stuff around this, you need to get help for sure. And don't say, well, maybe I'm just not a sex addict. What you have is something probably, you have a death wish for sure, but probably other things going on as well with that. And a lot of people that were sexually abused as kids can recreate that danger of the abuse and that scary, sick feeling they feel in their stomachs when they were abused that's gotten lumped in with sexuality feelings. So somebody that was sexually abused that wasn't violently abused but was seduced, and so they had physical turn on and they had that sick, disgusted shame feeling, they become merged. And so sometimes what happens is the only way they feel like they can be turned on is when things are scary and dangerous and uncomfortable and shameful. So that's an issue that definitely needs to be addressed. If that's something you're facing, definitely. So you can call me. You can call your local sex therapist, people, psychiatrist, people like that are going to help you out with something like that. So we are going to take a short break here, and we want to say hi to Sam. Sam's a new guy. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Look at this. I love his red hair.
Yeah,
that's
It
cool.
doesn't get me any girls.
It doesn't?
No.
Wow.
We'll help you with that.
That is unfortunate.
It really is.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
It sure gets me the girls.
We can help you work that angle.
I look forward to the session.
We'll be back in just a few moments.
I'm too sexy for your party, too too sexy for your party. The way I'm disco dancing. I'm a model, you know what I mean. And I do my little turn.
Are you one of the 40 million sexless couples in the U.S.? Are you wondering why having sex leaves you feeling lonely? Are you suffering from the myths of sexual dysfunction? Do you know in your heart that there has to be more than what you're currently getting out of making love? To rid yourself of sexual ignorance, get more out of your lovemaking, and find out more about spiritual sexual connection, then you need to check out www.thetantrateacher.com to receive your free copy of the ebook called Secrets of the Tantra Teacher. Don't suffer another minute without the sexual loving and ecstatic bliss you were born to receive. Get to www.thetantrateacher.com right now. That's www.thetantrateacher.com.
Is your sex life non-existent? Do sexual dysfunctions leave you soft? Is internet porn getting more than you are? Or are you paying more attention to porn than your partner? Have you tried talk therapy and it got you nowhere? You are not alone. You can be freed from sexual shame, guilt, and dissatisfaction. A visit to the Tantra Teacher is in order. Call now and mention you heard the Tantra Teacher on the radio and get a very special offer. Stop waiting for a miracle and call right now. 206-276-2735. Phone consultations or in person will get you the information you need to be successful in your love life. But you have to call now. 206-276-2735. Stop making excuses. Call the Tantra Teacher. 206-276-2735.
Did you know that you can rate this show on iTunes? The show you're listening to right now. It's true. You can leave your thoughts about the show, the topic, the guest. You can even leave a suggestion. Then, before you leave, rate the show. The hosts love hearing from you, so next time you download this show from iTunes, leave your thoughts and rate the show for the host and for others.
I'm too sexy for your party. Too sexy for your party. The way I'm
disco dancing.
You have to make sure you were turned on right before coming on the air.
I know, I wasn't turned on. I was sitting here going, what?
Why can't I hear myself?
Why they couldn't hear me?
You're
not turned on.
It's a studio thing.
It's so rare for me, too. I'm really not turned on. So, what I want to know are who all these women that I don't know on my man's Facebook.
On your man's Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you guys gone over that list yet?
I don't know. What is up with that?
What is up with that?
Yeah. Do you remember, you know how this whole thing started with my man and I? That fateful day when we had that radio guest on that was, leading me through an exercise on arousal. And she said, okay, so, I want you to really, breathe in and, get your juices flowing. I'm like, okay. And I flipped to Max's Facebook wall.
Right.
You're over there yelling, what? That's Max. Yeah, that kind of outed me right there.
Yeah, kind of.
Then I had to tell him I had a crush on him and all that because now it was on public radio. It was out there like that. Yeah. Anyway, I still think he's super hot.
That's a good thing because, you're with him.
Wow. You know what? I guess.
And he's with you.
But see, that's the amazing thing. We've been together this long and I still think he's
That's good. That's important.
Oh, the right ball, it's like almost 7 months. It's a long term for me.
Right. And the crickets in the back going.
Okay, so there are lots of in relationships. There's lots of ways to have type of an addiction may be a hard word, but there's drama. There's people that are addicted to the drama of relationship, and they always have to create drama.
In order to feel alive, they have to create it.
Right. There's no passion going on in the relationship. They will create passion.
Mm-hmm.
I once broke all the dishes in a man's house.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like 21, and he was a pot addict, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get his attention. So I went into the kitchen and started breaking dishes. About dish number 15, he came casually, calmly walking around the corner and said, what are you doing? I'm breaking your dishes.
And they say that marijuana is not addictive.
I know.
Yeah. When you get to plate 15 and you go, I'm not going to have anything to eat on.
I don't know what he was thinking, but he was looking at me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm breaking your dishes. And he said, you should probably stop that.
You should probably stop that.
Which I went into gales of hysterical laughter and broke a few more.
Right.
I need you to leave the house now. Really? That's one way I got some attention.
What's going to wake you up?
I know. That was really sad.
Right.
It's interesting what we do and what we think we need to do in relationships. So, all right. Women can be addicts too around sexuality. And though it's more rare, you know, the whole nympho thing, right? Nymphomaniac, inability to be satisfied. That's kind of an interesting thing. I think there's a lot of women out there that are not being satisfied. I don't know if it's their inability or who they're with.
Well, a nymphomaniac would be someone who never feels satiated, never feels relieved.
Well, I think it's actually, yeah. I mean, there's, you know, women have the inability to orgasm, and so they're going to go, on and on and on and on and on. Then there's the women that orgasm and want more and more and more. And quite frankly, what's wrong with that?
I'm keeping my words to myself because I'm keeping my words to myself. That's why.
Look at that. That's unusual.
Yes, I know.
What is that a sign of? He's keeping his words to himself, and he's not thinking about it as much as he might. All right. So I'm looking for it here.
I'm tearing up a little bit, though, in the mere thought and mention of nymphomaniacs.
He's working hard at not thinking about that. All right. So one of my my fans, what do they call them, my fans, talking about this was really kind of sad. So, you know, when I talk about how it takes women, you know, a longer time to get excited than it takes men, and, you know, the average man is touching a woman, you know, 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, and the average woman takes about 45 minutes to really get to where she should be before she's penetrated in any way. This poor woman said, you know, so she felt like, wow, that's kind of interesting. And then she said, it happened. My guy actually admitted that it's tiring trying to do it for me, and even asked her how long it's going to take.
Oh, boy.
Now, you know what? I understand jaw cramps. I understand hand cramps. I understand all of these things, all right? It's not that, you know, we're always comfortable, you know, and especially if we're not smart about it. So, okay, let's say we know that it's going to take the average woman 45 minutes to be really aroused. If you just try to stay in one position for 45 minutes, neither one of you is going to be comfortable. If you're willing to, you know, sit up, move around, get some pillows, you know, try different times. This is like about touching. This is not intercourse.
Just laying on our sides before falling asleep and start rubbing the side that's face up and hoping that that's enough to make her want me.
That's right, exactly.
Okay,
and I'm not talking about 45 minutes of sex here.
Just so you know, I just made a confession there.
Yeah, right. So this is about, this is about being real and getting rid of a lot of that fantasy about sex. And when I talk about fantasy about sex, I'm talking about how it should be. Like that Hollywood thing where you grab each other and the clothes magically disappear.
Looking into her eyes.
Yeah, and the clothes just like, how do they do that? They just kind of like fall away, and then everything's perfect.
Helps when you're at the beach with the waves crashing over.
That's right, right, and the sand. Yeah, well, then there's the sand, right?
They didn't talk about the sand.
Right, exactly, and all this stuff. It's like we're afraid to say, "Oh gosh, I've got to move for a second.
Because we're gonna cramp.
Right, we're gonna break the mood. Oh my God, that's happened to me. Like double cramp and like screaming at the top of your lungs. We need to just be not so worried about breaking the mood, because nothing breaks the mood worse than cramping
or not breaking the mood when you're uncomfortable.
Right, and you're sitting there uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, you're not concentrating on what you're doing. You're concentrating on your discomfort.
I've had to see the chiropractor, the next day because I stayed on one elbow too long and.
Right, so we need to change that up a little bit. But gentlemen, if you ask a woman, how long is this going to take?
You should listen to what she's saying.
It's probably over right then. That is a surefire way for it to be done. So you know that, and I know you know that. So if you say that, it's because you want that to be done. I wouldn't be thinking that maybe you're getting yours after that. Maybe that's not so suave.
No.
Now, 45 minutes is a very long time. It's a long time. I mean, it is a long time.
It's a long time, but with a shift in thought process. I mean, I confess, as much as I like to say that I love women so much, there have been times in my life, in the not so distant past, where my urgency and my needs overwhelmed my compassion and
timing,
integrity in my desire. It's one thing just to have desire and need that sugar hit, right? So you grab the donut. Okay, when you're looking for intimacy with someone that you're in a relationship with, as a guy, I'm looking for, I got to get this happening. I'm having a need, and it's strong and powerful. To really learn how to revel in and feast on the experience of caressing, on the experience of desiring. Desire in itself is a fuel.
You know what the problem is, though? It's the capacity for pleasure. Most men's and women's pleasure capacity is so small that it only takes a few moments of swollen, blood and pounding of blood in certain organs for them to go, this is it. I got to get rid of this tension. I can't stand this.
Right, and that's okay.
See, that's the problem. Is that, so what we need to be doing is we need to be working on our threshold. We need to be pushing past our pleasure thresholds to be able to sustain pleasure longer and to move it through our bodies bigger, not just have it in one area where we're freaking out and we can't imagine lasting that long.
And guys, it is worth it. The transition in thought is easier than you think, and it is worth it 1,000,000 times over.
Now, what did you say? Because when it said, how long is this going to take? So what did you say?
Oh, I said, how long do I get to be here?
Yeah, right. See, now we like that much better. That's a nicer way to. So, honey, how long am I going to get to be here? Okay, that's probably going to speed that up a little bit.
You think?
It probably is.
It's gotten me in trouble.
Right. Well, there you go. So I think that this is all training, okay? And, I love men, and I'm a women's advocate and a man's advocate. I'm not downing anybody. I'm saying we're all ignorant. And I say that, and boy, let me tell you, in some classes, people get really angry with me. I said, you're all ignorant. And they're like, what?
What did you call me?
It's true, because we are still running so much of our biology. We think we're sophisticated. Oh, well, I'm doing her, and then, I get mine, and we're look how cool we are. And it's like, no.
No, this is not a volleyball match.
No, exactly. This is a journey. And that's not all like, oh, I'm so touchy-feely, we got to have all the candles and incense and all that going on. We told you a little bit. So Max and I took some time away, right? And we worked on our erotic mapping DVD that's coming out.
Way to have a working vacation.
I know. How cool is that? Erotic mapping. Like, what is erotic mapping?
Yeah.
Erotic mapping is an exercise and a ritual that allows a woman and a man, or two women or two men, whoever wants to do this, to have an experience of safe communication around sexuality. So most people are really afraid of communicating their needs sexually.
Yes.
I mean, they might say, no, I need you. My favorite was when I told one of my lovers that I'd like you to touch me longer.
Yes.
Yeah, so he went from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Well, I mean, granted, that was almost doubling the time.
Yeah, he counted. She was counting.
That was longer. Maybe a little more specific should have been there. But it's really difficult when we set an expectation that while we're making love, we're communicating about our likes and dislikes. One woman said to me, so she said, well, I heard that I'm supposed to use, tone, not words, but, sound to let my man know when he's doing great. So she says, I'm like, and then he started doing something I didn't like. And before I could stop the, from the last one, so I said, while he did something I didn't like, then he's focused on that. She goes, what am I supposed to do? And I said, you're supposed to go, eh.
I like Family Feud.
So now, maybe not, okay?
Jeopardy, would the answer be right here?
Could you imagine, like,
I love it. That would be awesome. We should have, I've got it. A new product from learningtantra.com. The two buzzers.
That's the ding and the
ding.
So, anyway. anyway.
That's like bell training for horses and dogs.
Yeah, clicker training.
How to train your man.
So, so that is, that's funny, and funny is good.
Yeah.
So you could actually do that with your partner and laugh and have a great time. You're going to find your arousal a lot higher.
Oh, this is so fun.
So doing erotic mapping means that you know that you're going to be talking to each other. Mm-hmm. And actually, I've got a video about erotic mapping. This is the pre-erotic mapping. Mm-hmm. This is an intro to our product.
Do we have a video that'll be here soon?
Yeah, exactly. I need to get that out there. So we start this off, and it's basically communication. Max is touching me, says, I really love to run my hand along the side of your breast, and he's gone for the nipples or whatever, and I'm saying, I really love it when you touch me like that, but I prefer to have that energy build towards me and not right on them right away.
Don't just jump on it.
Right. And he's like, oh, okay. So like this over here, like, yeah, I really like that right there. And so you're going to actually be dialoguing. Mm-hmm. So no one is upset by the feedback dialogue process.
Right.
And you actually go ahead and do the whole body that way, and a lot of women don't know what a man is doing when he's touching her yoni. He might be, whether that's 1 finger, 2, 3, whatever he's doing. So it's great when you get that feedback. And, it's like, so what do you do now? I'm just using this finger doing this. Mm-hmm. Oh, I really like that. Oh, no, I liked it that a little bit further. Okay, that was really good. Mm-hmm. It's great. I mean, you get really good feedback, real time. Mm-hmm. You can feel free.
And if the woman is giving active feedback, as a guy, I don't have to ask, how does that feel?
I know, right?
How does that feel?
Yeah.
Versus I tell you what I'm doing, and you tell me what you're feeling.
Right. And, that's really good. Let's try it a little bit harder. No, can you lighten up? Oh, no, I definitely like the lighten up better. That type of thing.
I love the idea of balanced feedback.
Yep. And so you give back and forth feedback on what's happening. And so that's a great product that we're putting out, erotic mapping. And I think, gosh, if couples were able to do that, you learn so much. I mean, we learned a ton doing that. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Did you have any fun?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, we've got to kind of cut this one a little bit because there were times when it was like, okay, wait a minute. We'll have to cut that part out.
You've got to edit that part out.
We're going to have to edit that part out, yeah.
Right.
So, we're not trying to do, this is a DVD, though. You do not see us naked. We're not doing porn. We're not doing soft porn. We're actually doing an educational.
And so we're not actually seeing you and him doing things.
No, you are hearing, you've got some great visuals, and you're hearing our process. So how it is you might talk about it, what you might say. There's some actually great vulnerable moments in there. I mean, it was, it was candid, it was real. Mm-hmm. And we haven't done that together before. So it was very...
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was very real. Awesome. So it's like taking a personal journey, but you'd be able to follow along and really get an idea of how that works and feel really comfortable with that. So that's coming really, really soon. Couples Intimacy Weekend, Sacred Intimacy. I have 2 spots left because somebody had to cancel.
Right.
So I have 2 spots left for this absolutely amazing experience.
Rare opportunity.
Right. Sunshine Coast, March 5th through 7th. So you get there Friday evening about 7, and you're going to be staying till Sunday at 4. I've got a very, very, very special deal for you if you email me, Facebook me, whatever you need to do to get to me. Just remember learningtantra.com, and you can find contact information there. And, or, Facebook me for sure, Tanja Diamond, Tanja Diamond. And let me know that you're interested. This is couples only, and Sacred Intimacy Weekend. And I teach the arts of sexual healing to the couples. Now, you don't get naked or do anything like that in class. You learn in class, you have some experiential stuff, and then you go to your own private space to practice what you've learned. And it's just and it's in a beautiful yurt on a bluff overlooking the beach.
Gosh.
Beautiful resort on the Sunshine Coast of Canada.
Right.
And I'm very excited about that. And so last one we had, you can see the video testimonials. We had a couple fly up from Florida, all the way from Florida, the Sunshine Coast. And he came up there like, I don't know what I'm in for. NFL football player.
Right.
I don't know about this. And he loved it. He absolutely loved it.
Transformational.
He said, because women say, well, my man won't do the group thing. And this is a very small group. This is like 6 couples at the most.
Right.
And what the men said about being in the group was being able to listen to other men talk or listen to couples interact was definitely worth the whole price.
Right.
Because they got to understand that they're not alone in what they're thinking and how things are going. The one woman said when she watched this other couple interact, she got to see what she might be doing in her relationship.
Right.
And she didn't like it.
Like. Oh.
Right. And so she made a big shift right there. The guys feel like, wow, I'm not alone. There are other men that are, feeling the way I am. And, we're all ignorant and we're in this together. And wow, thank God we're not as ignorant as we were before. Mm-hmm. So they really love that. And of course, that I'm such a big man's advocate that I always make sure that
men are safe and championed. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, men really enjoy that because, the bottom line is I know you guys out there are worried about disappointing your women. Mm-hmm. It's like you live in that space of, oh my gosh, I'm going to disappoint her again.
Right.
And I'm never going to get this right. Worry whether I do, because if I get it right there, I'm not getting it right over here. And so that's a big burden on men. And it's really nice when a couple can learn how to share that and change that around. Mm-hmm. So you learn about communication. You learn about the art of sexual healing. You learn how to be each other's healers as well as lovers. And that is huge. The look on people when they come back from that experience, it's my favorite thing to teach.
Yeah.
I really, really, really enjoy this. And so get a hold of me for March 5th through 7th. Got a couple of spaces left. I'll give you a really, really screaming deal. And Facebook me. Ebook me, Facebook me, something book me.
Facebook email.
Yeah, Facebook email. That's right. I was trying to put the face.
Make a phone call.
Facebook. Make a phone call. Exactly. It's on my contact list. And the book is doing great.
Is it?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. So, went to the Women of Wisdom conference and that was great. My first showing of the book. And what's really fun? I love this. So, the book's out there and a few people are reading it that I know. I've given it away to a few friends and stuff like that. And I always love it when people come up and say, hey, so I have this friend that's an editor. And it's like, is it that bad? No. But, maybe it could be like polished up. And I'm like, polished up. Like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, maybe perhaps it could, like I said, more sophisticated. Oh, yeah. Or more intellectual. Yeah. Because people know me to be pretty bright. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I don't talk like that, do I? I mean, how do I speak? This book is written how I speak.
You speak real.
Right. This book is real. This book is not like, even though it's a practical guide to extraordinary living. Mm-hmm. Beyond sex, Tantra. Beyond sex doesn't mean enlightened sex. It means beyond the sex. Mm-hmm. What is Tantra? And it's a practical guide to extraordinary living.
Right.
Practical guide, practical being.
Here's how to modify your daily experiences.
Right, exactly. In an easy to follow format, 26 chapters with how-tos on the end of every one. Mm-hmm. And the concepts are, dare I say, basic. Down home, whatever. I'm like one of you. I'm here. I'm not trying to speak esoterically.
Wait a minute, though.
Yes.
I know that Tantra isn't all about sex.
Right.
However, I've also heard you say things like, just because I'm not telling you how to have sex doesn't mean that this doesn't have to do
Well, of course, because so in the midst of all of this, right, so I'm doing a joint venture with my book. So everybody should know that I'm doing a book launch campaign March 23rd. So if you're interested in buying this book, do not buy it yet. Because on March 23rd, if you buy the book off my website, or actually it's going to be beyond-sex-tantra.com. So the book title caps on the beyond and the sex and the.
And is there
tantra.
A link on the website?
There's going to be, yeah.
Okay,
but so you buy it on March 23rd, you're entered to in a drawing to win a trip to Hawaii or to win a stay at Hawaii.
Whoa.
I know. Along with a whole bunch of other things.
So you're entered to, if you buy the book on March 23rd. Right. You're entered to win a trip to Hawaii.
Win a stay in Hawaii. I have a friend who owns a resort in Hawaii.
Right.
Who's giving away a grand prize of a week's stay there.
A week's stay.
Yeah, and I'll have the details on the page and everything else. But how cool is that?
That's pretty darn cool.
Buy a cool book that's going to help change your life.
Right.
And there's going to be a bunch of downloads, a bunch of other cool stuff there too. Mm-hmm. And enter with a chance to win.
Nice.
Stay in Hawaii. I mean, that's cool.
I like that.
Right. So that works pretty
I
well.
don't get to qualify, but I like it.
I know. Yeah, isn't that a bummer?
But anybody can invite me to go with them who win. No. I can't do that.
That's right. He's celibate, remember?
Right.
So the book is awesome. So back to the editing. So it's really funny because as a photographer, if you're a photographer, people come up and say, well, do you think you should have maybe made that a little brighter? Or, if you're a web designer and people look at your website, they go, oh, well, yeah, maybe that could have been a little. So apparently as an author, what I'm open to is do you want my editor, a friend of mine's editor's number or whatever? So I'm here to say that, and so when I finally ask, is there something wrong with it? No, there's nothing wrong with it. But people expect that because of all the knowledge I have and the esoteric, all the training and all the woo and all the wah and the whatever, that my book was going to be really tough. Like it was going to be just so flooded with like Sanskrit words and, all this philosophy stuff that, but it isn't.
The only Sanskrit you're getting is Yoni and Vajra. The rest is up to you.
Right, exactly. This is a book that's practically written, is written already.
Right.
But it's a practical guide.
Written practically.
Right, for anybody and everybody to get amazing results from. Mm-hmm. So do not be scared of that. Just because it says sex, and then I always say, this is not a sex book. Mm-hmm. It does have I do talk in there about tantric sexual union and what it really is and what it really means. So, I mean, there are some things that address, but all of it. I had a life coach tell me that she didn't want to do, I'm doing a joint venture. So if you're out there with a list and you're like, ooh, I want a joint venture on this book deal,
right.
Email me too. But she said to me, oh, I don't tell my clients about sex. Life coach. So how is it that a business coach, maybe I can understand that you're not talking about sex, even though I talk about people's sex life and Tantra for business. But, life coach, don't talk to my clients about sex. So address everything else, your weight, your health, your organization, but don't talk sex. How is it that we've cut that entire thing out of our life?
Afraid.
Yeah. Weird, huh? So anyway, just so you know, in my life coaching and my life mastery programs, we do actually address the whole part of you. We go there.
We go there. We
address it all because it's all part of your life.
One fuels the other. Your sexuality fuels your life fuels your sexuality.
Well, it's not compartmentalized. We're sexual beings.
Right.
First and foremost, eat, drink, procreate. I mean, it's kind of there. Mm-hmm. So we just need to get in a lot more of it. So if you're a woman if you're a woman who has a man who's asking you how long it's going to take, you can always say to him, not very much longer because I just left you.
Oh.
Or you could say, you know what, darling, I love you so much and I really want to be with you and we all need to get a little bit more educated. Mm-hmm. So let's get to Tanya's website. Mm-hmm. Let's buy some books. Mm-hmm. Let's get some CDs, DVDs, whatever. You need to be checking out the website often because we're adding products like erotic mapping often. Yes. Anyway. All right. So there's the deal. I'm pretty busy. I've got tons of interviews happening because, of course, now that I have a book, I'm considered an expert.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of funny.
Like you weren't an expert the week before.
I know, but now I'm an expert because I have a book. So I've got like 3 interviews tomorrow. I had an interview last night. Somebody's putting me in their book to talk about world evolution and consciousness. So look,
nice.
I know that's going to be intellectual. So
I may have to write a book.
For those people that want intellectual from me, that's where you'll find that. Lots of really fun and cool things. And joined a company that's going to be putting on some teleseminars, free teleseminars. So those are going to be coming up too. And I think that's how much time we got there, Sam? Oh, we got 1 minute. What do we want to say for 1 minute?
Well,
breathe.
We can breathe.
We can breathe.
We can breathe. I mean, I want to say, guys, when it comes to how long, it's one of those things that, we oftentimes think about it.
You're not going to make it. Talk faster.
All day.
You think about it all day.
But we think about intimacy all day. So when it comes to the moment of actually...
You don't think about intimacy. You think about sex and boobs and those kind of things.
Yeah. When we finally have an opportunity to have them in the hand, stretch it out.
Oh. It's done. We're done. We're going to see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Been listening to the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show with your host, Tanya Diamond. Visit our website at www.tanyadiamond.com. That's TANJA for more information on workshops and classes.